We know the auto industry is coming under a lot of pressure during this pandemic. We're really not going anywhere. Americans not really going out and shopping for a new car. That's not top of mind. Usually it is during the spring buying season. Want to bring in Tom Dahl. He is the CEO of Subaru of America. Tom, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate your time. Before all this happened, Subaru was on track for its 12th straight year of sales gains, and then everything got turned upside down. Just give us an overview of what business is like right now for you at Subaru.
Well, as you pointed out, for the first 2.5 months, up until we got to the Ides of March, if you will, the middle of March, everything was great. We were on track to have another huge sales year this year, and then suddenly the market got turned off. And as you know, the market's probably going to be down in this month somewhere between 55 and 60%. We're going to be down somewhat in that same range, but we are beginning to see the last few days our sales begin to recover a little bit.
Okay, so tell me, how are you selling those cars? I mean, are dealerships open? Are you doing sales virtually at this point? How's that happening?
That's correct. Most of our retailers are now doing virtual sales. And one thing that's great about retailers in the automotive business is they adapt. These people are tremendous at figuring out what to do in the market. And when the markets are tough, and they tend to figure out what to do. So they're beginning to adapt to the new normal, if you will, of how they're going to have to sell cars in the future.
And I know that there are a lot of Americans out there who cannot make their car payments right now. Their paychecks are threatened. What, if anything, is Subaru doing to extend some relief to those people?
That's a great question, because we have deferred payment programs for our APR programs, our loan programs, as well as lease programs, just as a lot of the other manufacturers have done, to make sure that we can take off some of the financial burden that these families have to be under about now with everything that's been going on in the economy.
Tom, Brian here. You've seen a lot of cycles in the auto industry. Do you think, just given the fact we're seeing inventories pile up, we're seeing used car prices under pressure, that it's now time to be looking, the government should look towards a cash for clunkers type program?
Well, that's something that's, I know with our trade group, that's something that we've worked with, or trying to work with the governmental leaders in Washington to try to come up with something that will stimulate the market, because of the importance, as you point out, Brian, the importance of the car industry and the number of jobs that get created because of it. Right now, we're looking at an industry that's probably going to come back in the 12 to 13 million range at best. So without any type of stimulus, that's kind of where it's going to be for a little bit, until families feel comfortable making that large financial decision whether or not to purchase a vehicle or not. So some type of stimulus program in the car industry would be helpful.
How far away do you think we are away from getting a program like that?
I have no idea. I mean, I would obviously hope it would be over the next few months, but that's something that the governmental leaders in Washington will have to decide.
Tom, are you offering any sort of special incentives or deals to entice people to buy during this pandemic?
I think this is a kind of a situation where the market is what the market is, and you're going to get what you get. So yeah, we have 0% financing out there to 63 months. We haven't done some of the more aggressive programs that some of the other manufacturers have done, because, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily believe in those longer term financing, because those customers still come back at year 4 and year 5. And we want to make sure that when they do come back, they've got equity in their trade. Some of these longer term finance deals, the customers aren't going to get equity for a long time. So when they come back to get their next trade, that difference between their loan balance and what the car is worth has to be put back into their next loan or lease, therefore making the payments a lot higher. So we don't like to go much beyond the 63 months.
What about supply chain for you and your manufacturing plants? How are things running? Have you had any cases where you've had COVID-19 outbreaks at any manufacturing plants? Have you had to make adjustments because of that?
We have 2 manufacturing plants. We've got one in the United States, Subaru of Indiana Automotive, which is based in Lafayette, Indiana. And we've got our massive manufacturing plant that's in Gunma Prefecture in Japan. Both of those facilities have been closed since around April the 9th, April the 10th. They're scheduled to be reopened on May the 11th. So that would be about 60 days of shutdown and lost production. So from a supply chain standpoint, we were having some supply chain issues prior to the shutdown, but in general, our supply chains are actually pretty good, particularly with service parts that we're shipping out on a daily basis, so our retailers can fix customer cars. So from that standpoint, we're okay. It'll be interesting to see when the market finally does open up, because as you pointed out during the early part of your show, this is a worldwide pandemic. And worldwide, economies all over the world have shut down, and we're getting parts from all over the world, not just China.
Tom, do you think we've seen a profound decline in oil prices? Gas prices are starting to come down. Some parts of the country below $1 a gallon. Do you think the SUV boom is officially over?
So I think the SUV boom is officially over.
Yeah, and we might see a pushback into passenger cars.
I'm not sure. I think people with the lower gas prices, they like the larger vehicles because now it's not going to cost them near that much money to be able to fill them up. So I think you're going to see more of a transition into larger trucks and sport utility type vehicles and the types of crossover vehicles that we sell. People really do like the utility that these vehicles provide for them. And by the way, a lot of these smaller SUVs like we sell with our Forester line, our Crosstrek, our Ascent, and our Outback, they get tremendous gas mileage.
That they do. I had a Legacy back in the day, and that thing was a workhorse, Tom. I know you're doing some great stuff too at the local level for communities and neighborhoods, and trying to feed the hungry during this time. Tell us what you're doing there at Subaru.
What we've done is about a few weeks ago, we started thinking what's happening with all the shopping that was going on and the cupboards being bare and so forth. And we decided that we wanted to partner up with Feeding America. And, Feeding America is the second largest charity in the United States and the largest charity devoted towards feeding people. And what's great about it is they've got over 200 food banks that they partner with all around the country that are close to our retailers. So when the economy does open up and our retailers are open for business, we're going to be able to involve our retailers and hopefully our customers as well to make sure that we're contributing to make sure that these people who are hungry right now get the food that they need and they deserve. But it's one of these things that we want to try to do as best as we can. We're going to be donating 50 million meals to Feeding America. It's going to be great.
That is going to be great. We want to thank you for your efforts. Tom Dahl, CEO of Subaru America, our best to you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Brian.
Hey, investors. Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.